Hello, here's Gothic 3 in a nutshell. Thanks for watching, guys. Please remember, like and subscribe. Also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Oh yeah, I also made a longer, mostly pointless review if you care.
Cause I don't. I don't care. I'm dead inside.
I just want to kill everyone.
Gothic 3 is the worst conclusion to an RPG saga since Ultima 9 Ascension, and after playing the first two I have to ask, what happened? Okay, listen, I'm not trying to pretend they were perfect or anything, but they really were a case of its whole is so much better than some of its parts. They had an open world of just the right size to allow exploration without having to sacrifice narrative focus. A world filled with details that really gave a sense of depth to the whole experience. The combat system not only was great, it was ahead of its time. I wasn't kidding when I said it felt like an archaic version of the combat from the Souls series. Sure, the story wasn't great, but it made sense. And after the second one, it really looked like the guys at PB had a clear grasp on what made their games great. So what happened? And if you love it, I mean, that's great. I mean, there's people who loves to shove anal beads up their asses, who am I to judge? Now I'm gonna explain in details why Gothic 3, another game from the what could have been great shelf, failed at pretty much everything its attempt. And to understand all this, we need to go back in time, even before the game was released. So let's begin with part 1, what the fuck happened? What we know from official sources is that the game had some development troubles and JoWooD, the publisher, forced a premature release. Usually fans like to put the blame on JoWooD and consider it case closed, but I really want to go deeper into this matter and try to understand what really happened. You see, during release people mainly complained about bugs and glitches, and they were right. The game, aside from performing worse than Assassin's Creed Unity, was nearly unplayable. And now, brought to us by the power of community slave labor, we have a free, light and easy to install 2 GB patch that fixes most of the bugs, glitches and balance problems. Though the game still manages to make my PC sound like a fucking rotating power saw. So you're thinking, now the game's perfect, right? No. You see, there's different states in which a rushed game can be released. In the best case scenario, a rushed game is unpolished, buggy or unoptimized. Now you can fix those kind of problems thanks to the internet with just a patch. Gothic 3 wasn't just buggy, unpolished and unoptimized, it was unfinished. It's pretty much the difference between a car with unbalanced tires and a car with no tires, no engine and brick walls instead of airbags. So the next logical question would be, to what extent the game wasn't finished? Well, we'll probably never know exactly, but to give you a rough idea, in an interview with developer Michael Hoge, at the question, why did you have an open ending for Gothic 3? He simply answered, lack of time. This clearly implies that the story we now have in the game is not the story they wanted to tell. We don't have many other official statements about the symptoms of time restraints, but after my too painful playthrough, my guess is most of the features are either incomplete, absent or extremely unpolished, on a level where no amount of patching can fix them. So now it's theory/speculation time, so please put your tinfoil hats on. I always felt like the biggest inspiration for Gothic was the Ultima series. Now the thing is, the last Ultima game that exists not only in my worst nightmares, it's Ultima 7 Part 2 Serpent Isle. And it's from '93. That's probably the main reason why the team had to take inspiration from other genres like the, at the time, popular action-adventure. Tomb Raider is a game that comes to mind, and it's probably this weird alchemy what made them so unique in the first place. But then 2 things happened that redefined the fantasy genre. Morrowind and Lord of the Rings. I'm of course talking about the movies, not the books. You see, those were written like 500 years. Mind you, I'm not saying this is what happened. But I feel like they realized the stakes were getting higher, and this is what prompted them to attempt to create an open world of impressive size with a team of roughly 20 people. It's also my guess that the whole idea of focusing the story on war and big-scale battles was fueled by the Peter Jackson movies. They even mentioned them in the interviews. Well, at least they were way more subtle than Bethesda here with Imperial Theory and the Plains of Mordor. So yeah, it really feels they decided to create something that was way too big for them, and when they realized the thing that just didn't work, well, it was too late. It also sounds like someone was a bit too overconfident.
Ja, und wir sind deswegen so ein kleines Team, weil ich davon überzeugt bin, dass viel mehr Leute zu haben, nur Geld verbrennen bedeuten.
Yeah, right.
Now don't be sad, 'cause 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Shortly after release, PB terminated their relationship with Jowood, the publisher, but interestingly enough the game sold rather well, probably thanks to the IP's fame rather than the stellar reviews. This really might be the ultimate proof that PB wasn't exactly pleased with the final product. And in some of the interviews for their next game, Reason, they don't exactly sound enthusiastic to talk about Gothic 3. Hell, the sole mention seems to make them uncomfortable.
For fans of your previous games, can you tell us how does this game compare to your last game that you made?
Now, to fully understand the magnitude of the disaster we got here, I'll have to discuss the story of the whole trilogy. So, spoiler warning, I guess. Part 2, the intro! I was pretty surprised to notice that this time around the intro cutscene has no narration whatsoever. Yep, Nomozada's talking about his time with the fire mages while having a mild orgasm.
I was one of them.
And I'm not saying this is necessarily a problem, I mean it's actually a pretty good idea to deliver a narrative through visuals alone. And I have to say, the video at the very beginning, it's actually promising. But then things start happening. And by the way, this is the Gothic game I also played at release. So I can say I experienced this both as a newcomer and as a veteran of the series. I don't know what's worst. Also, if there was a game that could have used some narration, it'd be this one. Since we now have 2 games of backstory to go through. No, instead they show the orcs winning the war. You get no context whatsoever, you don't know who you are, why you're on a ship and who the other guys are. And Zardas is nowhere to be seen, you know, the most important character of the whole saga. And as a returning player, eager to see how it all ends, well, let's just say while the footage flashed in front of my raised eyebrow, a strong scent of rotting shit started to settle in my nostrils, and it only kept getting stronger and stronger after every frame. The cutscene starts with a sweeping shot of the ship Esmeralda, and the whole team is on board. The whole team minus Angar, Lee, Lars, Vatras, Bennett, and the captain you picked. And we're arriving at what I assume is Mirthana. Okay, where's the Claw of Velier? Where's my Dragon Hunter / Mage / Paladin's armor? Why are we all wearing pajamas? I assume it's all on the ship. Okay, the chances of engaging are extremely low anyway. I mean, it's not like we're going into a highly dangerous war zone or anything. Then we switch to what I assume is the nameless capital. There's an army assaulting the castle. Then all of a sudden epic sideburns. Then there should be King Robar. Then there's mages making some kind of ritual with some magic ore. Then the king wobbles his stick around. Then ba-boom! A magic barrier? A magic barrier. Wasn't the magic barrier supposed to be a one-way thing, like you could get in but you could not get out? Is the king confirmed as mentally disabled? Does anyone give a fuck about consistency? Then the guys get to a city, a camp or something, and oh shit, right, we're in a fucking dangerous war zone and maybe bringing our equipment with us could have helped. And the game starts with a fight. They also decided to add a tutorial. Too bad they probably had no idea what a tutorial is. They first explained that the weird thing sticking out in the foreground on the lower part of your screen is indeed a quick bar. Yep. And then they explained left click is for attacking and right click is for blocking. They also explained that if you move toward an enemy, the character will attack that enemy. Or something. And that's it. It doesn't explain how you're supposed to fight, it doesn't explain the various moves, it doesn't really explain anything. At least explain how to glitch the potion drinking animation, that's useful. I mean, it's not like I'm asking for a tutorial, but if you're gonna go out of your way and make one, make sure it actually serves a purpose. Nope. Okay, I slapped the orcs to death with my sword and then I try to understand what is going on.
What have you done? The orcs would have let us live. Now Zardas will send even more of them after us.
What has Zardas got to do with the orcs?
What's wrong with you? Haven't you been here these last few weeks? Zardas is the leader of the orcs. He betrayed us.
What else do you know about Zardas?
He destroyed the rune magic, that filthy swine. Deprived of their magic, paladins and fire mages never stood a chance against the hordes of orcs.
Holy exposition dump, Batman! How do you know about Zardas? How do you know he destroyed the rune magic? How do you know he's the leader of the orcs? You're just a dude in a village. How is it that you know all this stuff? Why would Zardos reveal his presence in the mainland and his name to anyone but the orcs exactly? Was he on the news? Have you read the design document? What is this on the table? Is this the design document? I mean, it's not like he always lived in seclusion exactly to ensure no one knew about him and his plans.
Don't tell anyone that you've talked to me. Above all, don't tell any magician. Since I have gone into exile, the Circle of Fire has taken me for dead, and that's a good thing.
Yo, Milton, the guy here told me rune magic doesn't work anymore. You know, I should make a what's wrong with your face joke here, but I think my soul just left my body. Oh yeah, magic doesn't work anymore. Except it does. Now my guess is that they remove rune magic to avoid the continuity error of a player becoming a fire mage or a paladin in Gothic 2. Problem is, this is the main reason why the orcs won the war. And while Milton tries to make it sound like a big deal, magic not only works, but it's better than ever before. No need to craft runes or anything, just pray at the shrine and get the spells. And while this is supposed to be a completely new kind of magic, the spells are exactly the same from Gothic 1 and 2, aside from some new additions. This was mind-boggling when in my first playthrough as a warrior I thought magic actually didn't work, and then I started seeing fire mages casting spells with no problem. I mean, I get they're supposed to be using ancient spells, but so why was this a problem? I mean, just pray at the shrine and you'll get your spells back, you don't even need to create runes. Now that I think about it, why was rune magic created in the first place? There's no point to it. My brain hurts.
What happened here? Quite obviously, the orcs have won their war against King Robar. And now the orcs are sweeping through the land, enslaving the humans. But most of all, I would like to know what happened to Lester.
Yeah, I need to get my equipment from the ship anyway. Where the fuck is the ship?
Bad news! There will be no reinforcements. Go look for the ship. You're not gonna find it.
What?
Pirates! It was all over in a moment.
Are we seriously rolling with this? I mean, this is the best excuse you've got to remove all my equipment. And just in case this doesn't sound stupid enough, may I remind you we had Lee, Laris, Vatras, Angar, among other people on the ship, and a bunch of stinky pirates managed to board it, drive everyone away, take the helm and disappear, all during our 5 minutes fight with the orcs. Yep.
I'm gonna try and make it to the south somehow.
But we'll meet again, surely.
I should think so.
Yeah, let's split up. That's a great idea. I'll go with Shaggy and Scooby.
You can set out with Gorn.
Oh yeah, while I was checking on Lester, Gorn read the design document as well, and he now knows where the rebels are. So he brings me there, and now I need to find Zardos because... Part 3, the combat system. While reading posts and comments, what struck me is that a lot of people seems to love the game if played with the community patch. And I'm like, what? I mean, the patch does 3 things. Add an option for an alternative balancing system that changes the cost and requirements for skills and weapons. Adds an option for an alternative combat system called alternative AI, but really it basically attempts to fix the combat. And third, it makes the game fucking playable. I mean, it's like saying I really like going cycling, but only if the bicycle has a saddle. So my guess is what they're trying to say is that with the alternative combat system the game becomes great. Okay. The vanilla version doesn't really require as much explanation.
Don't let up. That's the way.
Now, my guess is that the combat system is one of the victims of time restraints. It's no way near finished. It's so unfinished, in fact, that they probably just decided to obliterate it by allowing the player to just spam throughout the whole game. Now, while the intention behind the alternative AI option is commendable, I really think it does more harm than good. I mean, at least without it you can do something useful while fighting, like relieving your stress by strangling puppies. With it, you had to deal with every single broken animation, the extremely unresponsive controls, and the new glitches caused by the alternative AI itself. Now I have to speculate again, since I don't know what the fuck happened during development, but it looks like the animations were just a mash of what they had ready at the time. They're all fucking horrible. When light attacking with a one-handed weapon, it looks like you're rapier or saber fencing. But this is a medieval setting where you use shields, and when you do get the shield, the character holds it like this. I mean, do I need to explain why this makes no sense whatsoever? The two-handed animations look like they were designed by a being from another dimension. And no matter what you're using, axes, two-handed swords, halberds or staffs, the animations are all the same throughout the whole game. Oh yeah, do you remember how in the first two games you actually learned new moves that function both on an immersion level, since it looked like you were actually learning how to fight, and also on a mechanical level by making you stronger and quicker? Yep, that's out. There's no evasive maneuvers anymore, so all you can do is awkwardly jog around the enemy and block. And guess what my weapon of choice was from the very beginning till the very end? The basic halberd. I'm not even kidding, I used the basic halberd the whole time. You see, the damage you deal is your strength plus the weapon damage. And guess what? You're gonna increase your strength to a point where the increase in damage on the weapons you'll find, it's never gonna be large enough to trade in with the absurdly long range of the basic halberd. Really, the halberd does like 70 damage, and the best weapon, that you'll probably never find by the way, deals 155 damage. So by the end game this means 85 less damage, but you're gonna have around 400 strength, so it's trading just a bit of damage with the ability to never get hit. Oh yeah, I also have a request for the developers. You have a keyboard with 100 fucking keys. Can you please not put two actions on the same fucking button? To light attack you right click, to block you hold the right click. You have no idea how many times I died thanks to the game trying to understand if I wanted to block for a short period of time or light attack. The controls are already unresponsive enough by themselves, thank you. Now on how the combat system works. They removed the time-based system of the previous games where you had to time your attacks and parries to chain them, and instead they put a stamina bar. A great game critic once said, if you want to understand how good the stamina system in a Souls game is, play another game that has a stamina system, and holy shit is he right. It's barely a factor in combat, and unless you're sick or you're really trying hard to waste it, you'll almost never run out of it. It slows your attack speed down a bit, and it prevents you from using one attack, the whirlwind. I'll get to that in a second. At least without the alternative AI, you take damage when parrying without stamina, but they even removed that for some reason, and I have no idea why. But I mean, it's completely useless. You can just jog around your enemy and he won't be able to catch you, so really there's no point. It's an ammo counter for the whirlwind. And the whirlwind attack. That attack combined with the halberd is the piece that triggers the domino effect. The main concept seems to be light and quick attacks versus lethal slow attacks, but for some reason there's a whirlwind attack that hits instantly in a 180 degrees radius, up to 2 times. It's impressive to see how just a single broken animation can make an entire system worthless. There's no reason in the game not to use that combo. Impressive range of the halberd plus that fucking whirlwind attack. That's it, it's broken. It's broken. Let's move to archery. You finally have to aim. And it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I mean, it's archery. You need to aim and shoot. You have a couple of different kind of arrows and you can experiment with them, and it's okay. It's okay. The animation though, you don't draw a bow like that. You see the string clips into your torso. You don't. Who made these animations? From what galaxy does it come from? The magic system is by far the best of the bunch, since you can do shit like this. Too bad it's completely unbalanced, and it's way too easy to exploit the terrible AI when using magic. Oh yeah, also epic early ragdoll physics. They still had to figure out that maybe a death animation before ragdolling the shit out of a model can help to avoid making it look like a deflating balloon. And again, you use the same currency, both to learn new spells and to increase your magic damage. And since with the alternative balance system you need to be pretty stingy with your learning points, the best course of action is again to learn just the fucking good old fireball, and then hope you won't die of boredom. Oh yeah, and you can't aim with your spells, they come along with a homing system. I'd argue that this is by far the best way to play. Problem is that it discourages experimenting since you need to save on mana and also on learning points. I actually tried some of the more interesting spells and they're awesome. Too bad the good old fireball gets the job done and you don't really need anything else. Also, the game is a bit too easy to exploit, Obi-Wan was right. Once you've got the high ground, everyone else is fucked. NPCs can't jump anymore, so just fireball the shit out of them. They're not even coded to run away, it's awesome. Have I mentioned that even patched the game is full of glitches? No? Here's some examples. The alternative AI makes the whirlwind attack glitch if you block it. You're gonna get hit no matter what. Heavy strike and then hoverhead to skip half of the hoverhead animation. Opening the inventory while blocking makes you skip all drinking and eating animations. If you keep switching weapons, the enemies will just stand still. You can skip the pickup animation by sneaking. You can face block spells by opening the inventory. The king teleported at the bottom of the barrier for some reason. No, I don't have the footage, I lost it, but trust me, it's true. And so on. But it's not like combat and a story that follows basic logic are what makes an open world game great, right? I mean, even the Elder Scrolls always had horrid combat systems. It's about the open world experience itself, right? Right.